rock star. As it pertains to public speaking, there's probably half a dozen to a dozen people that have spoken to 5 million people or more. And
Bob is a rock star.
he is a rock star for his space, absolutely. There's no question about it. So we're always grateful that when Bob comes out, both to participate and also to present, and I know that I'm grateful for him. He's going to be speaking again in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. But that's part of the great thing about the community that we're building here is it's not just about me or Nathan or David. It's about us as a full community. And I really want you to know and feel empowered when you come out. If you've got something to say, please raise your hand or say it. If you'd like to perform or present, just let us know. We want to make this an interactive community, not just a one-off. So,
Okay. John, I think we're ready?
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, you just give us a 3, 2, 1, and we'll go.
3, 2.
Okay. This is inspiration. Go ahead and hit play whenever you're ready.
Can you hear it?
Nope.
New technology.
Yeah, make sure. Sorry. Get to look and see.
I don't see it playing. There we go.
Okay, go ahead and hit play.
It's going.
Is it moving?
It is. But there's no sound.
It is moving. All right. He did.
He did.
He did. Oh, you can't have the yellow button on that one?
Ooh. Yellow button versus
Okay.
So we'll work on getting that out. I think we had a good broadcast online. It was a little hard to hear some of the music. And at the break, we'll have we'll make sure to get that played as well.
You guys back there can probably hear it okay. If you guys have yours at the right time, so we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. It's always fun to do and have new technology. But good work, Nathan. Thank you. These events are always fun. Always have new faces and folks coming out. I think what's really important with what we do here is that we're not just an inspirational or aspirational group. We're not here to just inspire you. I think inspiration and aspiration are amazing, and we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to help you feel good. And we've got some really amazing stories and things to be able to help you with that. We have and really great presenters. But we also want to make sure that when you leave here each and every week, that you can go and take action. That you can go out and do what we're teaching you. You know, we we come from an organization, or we've been trained by a gentleman by the name of Royce Williams, who likes to say that the risk of insult is the price of clarity. And he created an organization called the Wizard Academy. And there we do a lot of education and learning, but there's also a lot of what we call mental masturbation, which is fun and fine and really good. But what is really important from the Wizard Academy and from what we do isn't just the turning of our minds and the way that we think, but rather our ability to take what we learn and go out and take action. Right? If we can't implement what we learn, there's no value to it. The personal development industry, it's about a third of our client base, was created at the height of the last me cycle in our pendulum theorem. And there's a lot of what we call seminar junkies. I know Bob has experience with it. And a seminar junkie is someone that goes to an event because they get a emotional or psychological high. And we don't mind that, but we don't want to create an organization where we're simply getting you addicted to our emotion. Right? If you come here just because you feel good, that's great. But if you're not out there taking action, we're failing. Right? Change happens when we take action. And so when we do these weekly events, we do start off with the bigger picture. I usually start here with the bigger picture, and then we move into actionable things. Right? So when we teach Know Thyself, we teach knowing your sole purpose. We teach how you can how to define what your guiding North Star values are. We teach how to define and measure success. Because if you can't do those three things, then you're like a ship without a rudder, which will end up exactly where it's meant to go. But we also then teach knowing who your customer is, right? At the end of the day, what we do isn't about us. What we do is about our audience and our customer. And influence doesn't happen to us. It happens when we take what's in our heart and our soul, and we can convey that to someone else, and we can get them to take an action. Gone are the days when it's about big dreams. Today, our audience needs small actions. They need to be able to take results and see an action. The difference between the old douchebag thought leaders and marketers who taught you if you just dream big enough and today's leaders is that our leaders are out there taking their own action, eating their own pudding, and teaching other people to do it themselves. And what we do at these events is give you the tools to be able to go out and take action, because it's in the action where we change the world. You know, I'm really grateful for the pedigree that I have. I'm a high school dropout. I was homeless, used to sell drugs under a bridge. In fact, David likes to kid me. He used to live up in Bellingham, Washington. And when I first went up to Bellingham to meet with him when he was at PR Web, I showed him, well, I lived in that motel and under that bridge selling drugs in Bellingham, Washington. Now, I'm not proud of that. It's just a part of who I am. But it's part of the history of what brought me to where I am today. And each one of us have a story. My story isn't better or worse than anyone else. It's just my story. But in my ability to share my story and share my voice, I'm able to inspire you to know that you can do that. But then, as I said, it's about action, right? So the action is, now that I've shared my story, how can you go and do an action? How can you go and do something that influences someone else, right? And David is one of the people in my life that have given me both the personal motivation but also the tools to go out and take action. Now, David can tell you stories that'll make you laugh about me, probably all true, maybe a little embarrassing, and that's okay. But David is a man of action. In fact, one of the funnest things that I like to share with some of my clients from time to time is David's philosophy on employees. He says, what do you do with an unhappy employee? Other than David and Nathaniel, any ideas? What do you do with an unhappy employee?
Fire.
That's right, you fire him. right? That's the only thing you can do with an unhappy employee. You can't make someone who's unhappy happy. And of course, an unhappy employee is going to influence everyone around you. But David, as a man of integrity, has lived a life where he doesn't just say something, he practices what he preaches. And he's done that time and time again. I remember when I first met David 17 years ago, I was just getting out of being a publisher and starting my own company. And I called him and I said, hey, David, can you do this really big favor for me? And he's like, that's not realistic. I probably can't. I can't, but let me try. And he did. He genuinely called and tried to make the impossible happen. And it didn't happen, but he did it. And what David has done, both in PR Web and in the businesses that he's owned since, I mean, he's way ahead of the curve in terms of most businesses. In fact, at one point, he owned more 3D printing machines than anyone but a university on the planet. Way before any of us heard about 3D printing, David was doing that, trying to replace the need to go to China to do rapid prototyping on new products that you wanted to put out. David's always been ahead of the curve.
He 3D printed his son, too.
I kind of did. He did, both not only physically, but on an intellectual, emotional, and spiritual level. He's very much the same. Yeah, I don't think he feels you breaking your finger, but close enough. But David has practiced what he preaches, and what I'm really grateful about his being here today. He didn't have to come out; he came out to be able to present today, and we're doing some meetings tomorrow. He's been watching these events now for the last couple of months, and he wanted to be able to share his take on what we do as an agency. And he's going to come after the break in a few minutes, and he's going to talk about how to take what we've talked about, for those of you that have been here, the 12 steps of intimacy and personas. Those of you that were here last week with Bob and were able to go through the Myers-Briggs and persona work with Anthony and Nathan, what David's going to do is he's just going to make that practical. He's going to tell you, and for those of you that weren't, you're still going to understand, because he's going to kind of give an overview of all of that and some other things. He's going to give you the practical application on how to take 12 steps and personas and be able to create content in a very clear and concise way using what we call the 4 pillars of effective communication. And he's going to do it from a perspective of a marketer and a PR expert that is unique to everyone in this room. David built this massive major company called PR Web. And that company, now I believe it was sold by Vocus to PR Newswire, was the impetus to change an entire industry. It changed Business Wire at the time, it changed PR Newswire, and it became one of the biggest companies in the press release distribution industry at the time. And what he did, the way that he built it, was brilliant. And how did he build it? He built it by giving the service away for free. Any of you that remember the origination of PR Web, press release distribution was free. Now, if you wanted access to be higher on the list of distribution, you could donate stars. You could donate money to get stars, but it was free because David recognized that we were in this movement from a me mentality to we, where it wasn't about selling, but it was about building relationship. And what's the best way to build a relationship but by proving the value of what you're offering by giving the material for free? David created the free line before anybody was talking about the free line. Right? That long tail that Chris Anderson talks about, David understood before anybody else did. And that's why he's a legend in marketing and PR. And so I'm really excited that David's here today to be able to share this material with you. It's not often that you get a real legend in marketing and advertising at an event like this. And so I'm really grateful that David has agreed to come and speak. And I want to let you know that this is one example, like Bob last week, of the quality of the people that we're bringing out here, and we hope that you invite out here. Now, I know that we have some cookies and some brownies, and what I'd like to do is take a 10-minute break to allow David to get set up. Maybe some CBD as well. Yeah, some CBD brownies. No. I think you should make some CBD brownies for us. I'll give you guys a 10-minute break to allow David to set up. But I'm really excited to be able to have David present to you guys today. So we'll take a quick 10-minute break, and then we'll come back. I just want to be practical.